have not discovered yet, it's been forever since I've done a book haul, and I am sorry and I apologize. I have been selfishly hoarding books for the last few months and I haven't been sharing them with you. And I want to apologize, and that's going to change today. So let's get started. First book we have on this list is a continuation to the Court of Thorns Rose series, A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. I've started reading it, but then I put it down because it was summer. I went through this huge book slump. Like, I did not want to read. I literally picked up almost every single book I owned and could not read it for the life of me. I plan to read this sometime soon. Some of it is so big, so it's like daunting me. Like, do I have time for this? Do I not have time for this? Because being in school, it's kind of hard to read. But when I started the book, I actually really enjoyed it. So I can't wait to continue this. Next book we have, I waited forever for this book. And one thing I don't like when authors who make you wait forever, their next book comes out, is that you kind of just lose interest in the series altogether. But I'm hoping I'll still like this, even though it's been 2 years since I read the last book. Almost, and that is The Last Starbird Reykjanesi. I love the fifth wave. The Infinite Sea, not my favorite. Liked the meaning behind it, but it wasn't really my favorite book. So I'm hoping I'll like this one, even though it's been like forever.
It's been the longest time since I've read The Fifth Wave.
I'm excited. I love the covers. The covers are so pretty. The next book has been getting so many hypes, and I've had this on my bookshelf forever, and I don't even know why I haven't even read it. But that is Six of Crows by Leah Bardugo? I am sorry about that. I cannot pronounce names for the life of me. But it's actually like a sequel to her first series, which I still haven't read. I want to read that too as well. It's really different from most books because like the pages are black, so it kind of gives a dark feeling. And I can't wait to read it. I got to read it. It's on my reading list for this year. I want to finish this for a year. The longer books stay on my shelf, the less likely I am to read them. The next book in the series, I'm excited to read it, and it is Ice Like Fire. It is a continuation series from the Snow Like Ashes, which you can watch on my book talk, which I will link down below. I love the series. I love the characters. I love the world. The only thing I would have against this book is that in the first book it was taken from one perspective, and this book is taken from multiple perspectives. Like, she's kind of pulling a Veronica Roth thing here. And I prefer books that are in one perspective more because, one, when books are in different perspectives, you tend to know information other characters don't know. And so then when the other characters do find out, it's just not a big shock. Not a big, like, gasp moment. It's kind of like, yeah, I've known that for the last 50 pages. And second of all, when it's from different perspectives, it's one thing if the characters are working together and it's taken from different perspectives. It's another where like 3 different characters all have 3 different stories, because it seems like the minute you start getting hooked on this one character's story, it switches to another perspective. And then you start getting hooked on their story and it switches to another perspective. Like, you don't really fully enjoy each character's story because every time you start getting used to it and getting back into their mindset, it switches to a new perspective. But I'm hoping it's not okay. There's a few books I have read from different perspectives that I've loved. I'm hoping I can count this as one of them. I love the covers. The covers are so pretty. Look at that. Look at that. I love these covers. They're so pretty. And this I actually bought from Book Depository, and I'm happy with my purchase, so I recommend them. Though, just to warn you, it does take a while, but it's worth it. Believe me, it is worth it. Go on Book Depository. Next is another book I got from Book Depository, and this one I saw on Epic Reads YouTube channel, and after hearing about it, I was like, I gotta get this book. And I actually just finished it today, and I love this, and it is Ruined by Amy Tintera. So there's these different kingdoms, but the most the book faces on is Lyra, which is where Cass is from, and then Ruina, which is where the Ruin from. The Ruin have special supernatural powers, that they have ruins that describe them. That's why they're called Ruin. They have ruins on their arm, kind of like how Shadowhunters have like ruins on their arms, but these are kind of like, I'm guessing, like vine-like looking. Well, the king of Lyra attacks Runa and takes the main character, whose name is M, sister, away. So now M disguised herself as a princess of Valos, who her name was Mary, because Mary was supposed to marry Cass, and her plan is to attack the castle and take down Lyra to get her sister back, and just what the king has been doing to her people. So it's a really good read. Like, I mean, there was honestly times where I was like, Oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? I gave it 4 star because there were times, I'll admit, where it was like a little slow. I'll talk more about this in detail on my book talk when I make it. But I love this book. There's times I work at a library and there's times where I'd be reading and it'd be like the life or death moments. You're like, what's gonna happen next? What's gonna happen next? And then you have someone, excuse me, ma'am, can I check out a book? I'm reading here. Do you not see? I have a book I'm reading. Go ask the other person. But I love this book, so you should go read it. I highly recommend it. The cover is beautiful. If that little blurb I gave you didn't persuade you, let the cover persuade you. It is beautiful. Next book, I started it, but I didn't like it and I can't finish it, which is really disappointing because I read the author's other books and I loved them and they were so good. And that is The Unexpected Everything by Morgan Matson. Now, first of all, I'm not saying this is a bad book because a lot of people have read it and gave it awesome reviews. I myself, though, was not a contemporary reader. Very few contemporary books I can actually say I've liked. For me to like a contemporary book, there has to be something like special there, something extra that you don't normally get into contemporary books. And for me, it just wasn't there with this one. I could not just finish it. I mean, I got like a little over than halfway through and I cannot get into it. I don't know why. I wish I could. The cover is gorgeous. I love it. And one thing I love about her books is if you go on the inside, there's a picture. And I don't know, I wish I could have loved this book, but I still recommend it if you love contemporary books that are light and fun. I highly recommend it. This next one, I wasn't planning on buying. I had it saved on Goodreads as wanting to read, but I wasn't really planning on buying it. But that is A Study in Charlotte by Brittany Cavallero. And basically it's a new telling of the Sherlock Holmes story, except Holmes is a girl and Watson is a boy, and it's like, I think it's like some prestigious school they go to. They end up solving mysteries. I don't really know. I haven't really read the blurb on it. I saw the book trailer and I loved it. I like the cover. I can't wait to read it. I'm excited to read it. So this looks really good. I can't wait to read it. This next book is another book I've read, but oh my gosh, talk about making you cry. And I'm going to make a video on this too, because just so many feelings happen in this book. It's one of those books where when you first read it, you're like, okay, and put it down. But it's once you start thinking about it and applying it to your own life is when the tears come. That is Tiger Lily by Jodi Lynn Anderson. It's a retelling the story of Peter Pan from Tinkerbell's perspective, which is actually fascinating because I actually thought it being about Tiger Lily, I thought it was just going to be Tiger Lily's perspective, but no, it's actually from Tinkerbell's perspective, which gave a new element. Because I love this book, I cried, I laughed. Just, I highly recommend this book if you are really looking for a book that just makes you feel something. And something, honestly, you'll see yourself in this book. I guarantee it. The story is so simple, you can relate to it. So I highly recommend this book. And the cover's gorgeous. Next book, I actually bought this today. I go to Barnes & Noble's. I'm looking for the book. Can't find it. So I go down to the register desk. Like, hey, could you help me find this book? No, I tell her the title. I tell her the author. She's like, oh, it's upstairs. Basically the place I was looking, but could not find it. But I eventually found it, and that is Slammed by Colleen Hoover. Now, not only is this my first Colleen Hoover book, I'm just really excited to read it because I kind of relate to this somewhat, so I can't wait to read it. Don't know much about this book. It's like something with poetry, I think, because slam poetry, she meets a guy, you know, she moves to a different place. I'm excited to read it, though. Cannot wait. Next one, I actually bought this at a used bookstore, so I got it for $4, which was really good, and I love the author's other books she's written, so I wanted to pick up this book, and especially if it's for $4, you can't beat that, and that is Between Shades of Grey by Ruta Sepetys, and I cannot wait to read this. It's historical fiction. I love that historical fiction is actually becoming a thing now, young adult fiction, because when I was younger, loved historical fiction. I read the Little House of Prairie books. I love the Revolutionary War. I'm obsessed with it. Always have been. Like, Williamsburg is like my heaven on earth. So I used to read Revolutionary War books. But sadly, young adult books were then, when I started becoming an even bigger reader, young adult books were focusing more on fantasy, science fiction. So there weren't many historical fiction books out, but now we are starting to get historical fiction books. I'm so excited because I love history. I love history. This is one of those books that when you first see it and hear about it, you automatically know you want to read it and buy it. And that is The Crown's Game by Evelyn Skye. Now, this book is very much like Throne of Glass. I haven't actually read it, but the concept of it is like Throne of Glass. There's this king, and I think he's looking for, like, what do they call it in here? The victor becomes the imperial enchanter and the Tsar's most respected advisor. And so there's this one girl, she has this magic power, and then there's this other guy, I think she's competing against, who also has this magic power, and then there's the prince. Kind of like throwing glass, they gotta compete to the, I think, death, and so I'm excited because I feel a love triangle's gonna happen, and you know, if you gotta compete to the death, she's not gonna want to kill someone she likes. So I'm excited to see how this plays out. And then finally, I read the first book over a year ago. It seems to be a big theme with me. I read the first book and then it takes me a year to read the second book. But that is Hollow City by Ransom Riggs. I devoured the first book. I loved it, I loved it, I loved it. Though I saw the movie trailer and I'm very, 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 very disappointed. It's not that hard, people. Get it right. But anyways, I'm excited to read this. I love the series. It's kind of creepy, but it's great. And I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. So I highly recommend this book. Even though I haven't read it yet, I still recommend the series in general because it's so good. I can't wait to read it. I can't wait to know. I don't really read like the blurb in second installments and third installments because I just like to be surprised on what's going to happen. So I'm excited to read it. Anyways, that is my book haul. Thank you for watching. I bought tons of books, tons, and there's so many more I want to buy. So many books, not enough time to read them, and no money to buy them. Life is hard. Anyways, thank you for watching. Bye!